Hey everyone, it's James. It's May 29th, about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USDT on the Binance Exchange. This is not investment advice, and one thing I want to talk about is last night's video. I talked about price arriving to a critical point, and I also put bottom with a question mark, right? And in that video, I talked about where price is more than likely going to try to find a bottom at, and then move up from that zone. Well, I got very close. I called that 6,900 roughly, and we bottomed right at 70.40 on the Bitfinex exchange, so about 140 point difference. I did take advantage of it last night. I kind of started to average down. I bought some positions last night, and then early morning, right before that big bar popped, I added more to my position to finalize my Bitcoin position that I plan on holding during this run. But one thing that kind of led me to that decision was I could see what Litecoin was doing, and some of the other alts were kind of holding up a little bit better. But beyond just like what Litecoin was doing, what I saw was very reminiscent of this fall right here, okay? Where we made this move down, we got this little pop, this little what I call a relief rally, and that relief rally leads to price ultimately going lower below it, okay? That's what I believe we are forming here. I highly doubt that price is going to break above 9,990 on Bitfinex or 10,000 on the other exchanges, right? I'm going to be the first person to tell you that I highly doubt that's going to happen. I do think we're going to hold the uptrend line, but just for a little bit longer. And I'll talk about that in just a second. It's not that I'm trying to say that market is over and that the cryptocurrency market is going to zero or any crazy crap like that. But let me show you, just a real quick recap of what we talked about in the prior video. We have the arches, right? And you can kind of see how price is becoming more elongated in nature, but it's also becoming more muted in nature, right? So we can see the volatility back here. We can kind of start to see this dwindling in price as we kind of like crash to a horizontal plane. Now, why this is happening, like why I believe it's happening, is because we had the bubble pop right here. The bubble is not about a percentage gain necessarily. It is about how the market is reacting emotionally, right? The human psychological aspects of trading. And people got hyped beyond imagination here, and they did really stupid things at this area. And the mainstream media hyped it up beyond anybody's wildest dreams, and people were going nuts, right? And that's kind of like what we started to see here. We started to almost see that again, where mainstream media started picking it up, talking about Bitcoin. I mean, CNBC was all over Bitcoin. Like, it was crazy. It was all over it. And that, I kind of marked the top, and I've talked about it in my prior videos where it, it felt like that was going to be the hit piece for Bitcoin, and ultimately it was, and we can see the slide that occurred from there, okay? And now we're starting to find this bottom, but it's really looking reminiscent of what we've seen after the prior downslides like so, okay? Another downslide, and this one right here. Now, since we're holding the arch and we're holding the uptrend line, it's still positive. It's still positive in the way that the uptrend line, the green line, is showing us that there are more buyers entering the market than there are sellers. And that's why we're seeing a series of higher lows, and we're trying to form out this series of higher highs, right? So this was just this was the last little guppy rally. We busted above that. And now, like I said in my prior videos, price needs to break above 9,990 before we can talk about any figures beyond that, okay? But I highly doubt, again, that we are going to even reach anywhere close to this zone. Instead, I think we're going to kind of top out like so and then come back to revisit this green line. Now, one thing that I don't know if I've talked about here, I talk about it with my subs a lot. When price starts to touch a line repeatedly, there's a higher probability we're going to start to break through that line. In this case, if we're starting to see the dwindling in price, moving more toward a horizontal plane, if we do retouch the green line, okay, we come back, retouch it like so. Let's just say for hypothetical purposes, we touch somewhere around the 7,000 range. That's probably where we're going to hit, somewhere around here. If we do that and we take this out price is going to start to migrate down to the 64.25 range on Bitfinex to try to find support somewhere in this area, okay? It will not be a positive sign for Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency market, because I do think if we start to head back down to this zone, I don't think it's going to hold up very well. And instead, if we do crash through that area, eventually breaking through it, then it's down to 6,000, and 6,000 doesn't really have a lot of price action. So if that one single buyer or multiple buyers, whoever really jump started that market, which I imagine is less than a handful of people, then there's not a lot of support there, because there's so few people that if they're not there anymore, or if they don't want any part of it and they've exited during this area right here, or they exited here, then that's it. There's not going to be much support. This has way more action than this does down here. So if this doesn't hold, I highly doubt this is going to hold. Okay. If we break 6,000 psychologically, that would definitely not be good. But you know, at the moment, what I see, it just doesn't look good. Now, looking on the shorter term picture, if Bitcoin can break above 7,700 roughly, which is where this red line is at this moment, then that will be a positive indication that price is going to have just a little higher to head. But like I said, I'm not anticipating a far run in Bitcoin. Instead, I'm anticipating something like this, a very short-lived run that is going to come back down and migrate its way right toward this green line. And it's either going to do one or two things: bounce again or crash right through. Okay. So I gave everybody the prices to look for. I gave you my analysis. It's just, I'm not hyped about this at all. We got a $500 bar. We've seen it multiple times. We've seen what happens after this. You know, it's just, it's like the same sad story on repeat over and over and over again. It's not that I think the end of the market is here. It's just that if you asked me, I'm probably 60% bearish and 40% bullish on what I see here. And I don't want to hype anybody up and tell them this is the bottom and that's it. We're shooting to the moon. We're going to bust above 9,990, because I highly doubt that is going to happen. So, you know, sorry to kind of break it down like that. I know everybody was like expecting this magical like bar and we were going to take off and have a bigger run than what we see here right in this range. But based on what I'm seeing, based on my analysis, based on my opinion, I do not believe that we're going to get anywhere close to that. Instead, we're just going to form the series of arches that I've talked about in my prior videos, and it's going to just be a little sad story of Bitcoin. I'm just hoping that we can hold the uptrend line, because I really want to talk about this from a bullish perspective versus a bearish perspective. And now I'm kind of migrating more to the bear camp, even though I do have a trade in this zone, right? I'm taking advantage of the pop of the small run. It's just from a longer term perspective, it just does not look good at this moment. Now, if something changes, I'll definitely let everybody know. That's what these videos are for. If you want something more in depth, like where I actually talk about my entries, post my stop losses, and etc. like that, cover the cryptocurrency market, stock market, commodities, I do have my subscription service, geometriccharts.com. You can go to the website and you can sign up right there. It's just a nice group of people that I have. Everybody's just extremely friendly. And then also too, if you've not joined the Slack channel is absolutely free. Over 340 members there. People share their own news, or people share news, opinions, their own charts. It's a really nice, friendly environment of like-minded people. So if you've not joined that, I would advise you do. Like I said, it's absolutely free. If you do like the video, please like, subscribe, follow, depending on what social media platform you're on. If you want to find my social media accounts, I do have the links, as well as the link to the Slack channel at the bottom of my website, geometriccharts.com. Okay. Other than that, I'll talk to everybody tomorrow night, and have a great day or great night, depending on where you are in the world. And I thank you for your time and your support.